Finally, I am so sorry, family. I literally took off the feed, tried to get it back on. The last feed was deleted. Again, it was very odd. So I apologize for all those. Check back in. It was the weirdest thing in the world. My little one wasn't feeling well. I just went to go address her, came back. My feed was dropped, would not let me back on. Then it deleted. It didn't. I don't even know if the the actual show before, it wouldn't even let me get into a show because the show wasn't there. So I apologize. Um, I'm just here alone. I'm sorry for everyone. Again, I can't even predict when these things will happen. So again, I'm sorry, Blog Talk. Blog Talk, you were on mute. So my little one wasn't feeling well. It was like maybe 5 minutes I was gone, and as soon as I went, Jose, it's because everybody left because I wasn't on for the longest time, but I couldn't get back on my other feed. It just closed me out. It totally. I'm looking to see, and it says it's live when I pull on, but it doesn't allow me access to go on. So I apologize. This is some of the glitches that happened with the show, so I apologize again. I see people are still on the phone line, so not everything is lost. Okay, so I'm sorry about that. We're going to jump back into it. Again, we're talking about the Naga serpent line. only, only when I talk. For lately, some of the subjects are just crazy. She is Mike. I see she is Mike is saying something. She is Mike. I see you're commenting. I can't see your comment on here. I'd have to see it on Patreon. Let me see what you're saying. For the Patreon people, I'm sorry. I'm back on. Yeah, I was on earlier. It just cut the break. They're on the other. Hopefully they know to jump off. I don't even think anyone knows I'm on here right now. So hold on. She is Mike. Okay. There we go. I'm back. Okay. I'm back. Okay. She is Mike. I'm back on. So I saw your comment on Patreon. Okay. So hopefully I'll let a couple people jump back in again. You know, I try to keep it as professional as possible, but when they drop my YouTube page and just totally leave it off, I almost think that everything is purposefully done to kind of distract me from the topic I was talking about, because I was going to talk about one of the qualities, and I'm going to keep going because can't stop, won't stop. I'm going to talk about the quality again of the Naga serpent, the copper eyes, and I was just getting into another quality of the Naga, which is the gray hair. It's not gray, it's actually white hair. You look glitchy? Gliffy? What does gliffy mean, Jose? Jose, what are you talking about? I look glitchy? I look glitchy? Are you serious? What does that mean? I don't know what you mean by glitchy. Is it glitching out, Jose? Good gracious. Only Blog Talk. Blog Talk, you're not seeing anything. That's the wonderful thing about you listening to the show. You don't actually get to see all the madness going on the feed. Boxy. I look boxy? Oh my goodness. Video is blurry. This is crazy because on my end the video looks fine. On your end you're saying it looks crazy. All right, family. Well, if you can hear me fine? I guess we're just going to have to leave the feed like that. Like I said, they glitchy. It's crazy because on my end it looks fine. All right, family. So let's just keep to the topic because apparently they want me to stop. So I'm going to keep talking. How I look really shouldn't matter at this point. I'm going to get into the information because it seems like anytime I'm about to talk about this, my eyes are glitching out already. Uh-oh. They messing with the feed. Okay, you can hear me fine? Okay, now, listen, if I'm shape-shifting, I can't affect that. Remember, we're timeline jumping on Sunday. I don't know if that's affecting the feed. We got to take that in consideration, too. It's blurry? Okay. Try to take whatever you're seeing and just take pictures of it so we see it later for what it was. Take proof. Proof is in the pudding. Take pictures of the glitches, and we'll address it later. Let me go back into it because it seems like anytime I bring up the silver hair, they stop my feed. They seem to distract me. Like my little one came in, she was fine before. All of a sudden, she wasn't feeling well. Okay, so another propensity of the Anunnaki, the Naga serpent line, is the silver hair. Now, I didn't know about the silver hair propensity until about, I think, 3 years ago, when I was introduced to Empress Sheba III, the original Empress Sheba III, and Queen of Sheba, Empress Sheba III. Okay, so when I was introduced to her 3 years ago, I remember a lot of the elders talking about she was born with silver hair. She was born with pure silver hair. Her entire head was silver. Then I had to do some research thinking that was a very unique quality of someone who's related to the Shiva line. Now remember, I was already delving into deep into the Anunnaki bloodline, especially the Naga line. Then I noticed that that was her propensity. So I started to research and find out if there was any other link to this silver hair being connected to any of this lineage. Come to find out, there were not only did she have this, but those who were part of the Naga line that were showing up in other aspects of the world were showing up with gray streaks in their hair or all born with, I don't want to say gray, silver hair. Okay? She was the one who had, she's from the purest bloodline. She's an Empress Sheba. She actually has the um, full silver hair. Her hair, she was born with pure silver hair. But anyone connected to her bloodline, which is the original tribes of Sheba, they all have streaks of silver hair that they're born with or big blotches of it in their hair. Then I followed the lineage all throughout the Caribbean, some in South America and Central America, and it was showing up in certain other diasporas. Then I realized that in the Renaissance, in the European Renaissance, that I noticed that there was a trend that was going on that I thought might have been linked to the Anunnaki Naga. And then when I started to realize that there was a link to why in the days of the antiquous times of Europe, you know, when the Renaissance, the basic Renaissance, when you know there were kings and queens and women wore those big bodices, you know, they wore big corsets that tied in their waist but made their bums look big because they wore big skirts that had you know was considered underneath their skirts were the what is it called, the tulle. It's called tulle. The tulle underneath their skirt that bumped out their bum a little bit, making them look like they had big behinds. But one of the common themes of that time was everybody was powdering their hair. Everyone of that time was creating white hair. And we also had to take into notion, where did this mimicry come from? Why did the denotion of white hair? It wasn't blonde hair, it wasn't red hair, it was white hair that they were mimicking, which in normal terms would consider, for most, would be considered, you would be considered someone who's aging, correct? So if that's the case, if you're aging, then, hold on, family, I've got to respond to my, hold on. Okay. 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 Sorry, I'm just paying attention. I'm looking at Patreon because Patreon's looking at the thing and they're commenting. I want to make sure I'm addressing their comments. Okay, please. Okay. Okay. Narda Walker. Okay, I see you, Narda Walker. Okay. Um, so they were powdering their hair with white powder. Okay. I had to take that in consideration. Also, they were mimicking a type of hairdo that was noted with braids, big braids that were tied around their head and upward. Okay, so I had to look in history to see why they were mimicking this type of genre of dress and fashion. Where was that coming from? Because in all forms of fashion are mimicking something. They usually get a base from why they're doing that. And come to find out, I found out that there was some connection to the Queen of Sheba, the Empress of Sheba, the original Empress of Sheba that coexisted in Ethiopia, and her ties at the time to Europe, where there was back and forth relay and also some sort of liaison that was going on with the two diaspora, okay? And undercurrents of mating going on with the Queen of England, the Queen of England bloodline, and with the Sheba, with the tribes of Sheba, some interaction going on. Then I have to take in consideration the mimicry that I'm noticing that is very common in Ethiopia at the time, with the Empress and her lineage showing up with the silver hair, the bigger buttocks, because obviously they're African diaspora, so they had bigger bums, the dresses that were adorned, and also the hairstyles styles that had the braids going up or curly hair. Curls were big curls going up or big hairdos that go up, which was, as you see on the, in European history, you see a lot of that beautiful Renaissance kind of styles, but they were mimicking what they were seeing in the African Ethiopian diaspora, stimulated from Empress Sheba's lineage. Okay, I checked that out. I did reference points, and I actually don't have it here. But the time frame when they were coinciding is the time frame when you're starting to see the mimicry of the silver hair, the bit of women tying in their waist like African women. Women of African diaspora tend to have smaller waists and bigger bums. Okay, so that's where you get all this tying in the waist, the wearing corsets, and having the breasts bumped out a little bit, and also having the tulle underneath, giving the perception of a bigger buttocks. Okay, it's like the bumped out buttocks. Okay, so they were mimicking some of the African diaspora. Okay, so one of the other researchers who was going into this, the only discrepancy we had with some of this information was the fact of the matter is that they were also powdering their face very, very white. So their concept was, if they're mimicking the African diaspora, why would they be making their skins lighter and not darker? And I said, well, that's one of the discrepancies I can't really make any reference to. I don't know why they were doing everything else in reference to the Anunnaki Naga from Queen of Sheba's lineage, but they were also mimicking very, very pale skin. So his concept was, are we only saying that they were mimicking that, or were they mimicking a set of Nordics that were also ET galactics that they may have been they were also imitating as well? So we kind of have a discrepancy between the powdering of the face, but I know that everything else was mimicking the Empress lineage from Sheba of Ethiopia and the Somali area. Okay, so following that information, I could use her. I could use her bum lifter. Me too. Remember that it was beautiful. I mean, even in the times of the women wearing things like that, you can see it was very beautiful. It was very unique. And again, when we go back in history, we have to see where the fashion was stimulated. Where did it come from? Everything that is being perpetuated comes from something. It has a base. They're mimicking a certain genre, a certain culture. But there was a very notable period of time where many of the European diaspora was wearing this very interesting morphing and contorting their bodies in very interesting ways that are very similar to the African women who were known to have the smaller waist and more bigger bums. So it was interesting. There was a mimicry on their side, and I'm sure there was mimicry obviously in Africa too of the European sect. But there was a connection to them in the Naga serpent line. Okay, that's one of the two qualities, was the silver hair and the copper glazed eyes. Okay, then we have a couple of the dispositions along the lines of the Naga serpent. We know that there was a redistribution of some of this bloodline, the specific hybrid bloodline along in the Caribbean. We know that Queen of Sheba was actually hidden. Empress Sheba III was hidden in Trinidad for many years as hidden, and when I say hidden, she was placed there without the general public knowing who she was as far as her lineage and her title, hidden in the Caribbean. She was one of a few that were hidden in certain Caribbean islands that were raised by a group of people who knew who they were, raising almost like coming to America, like coming to another country, people not knowing what you were, but having the same, having a lot of the endowments and being, procured as if you're royalty, but with some amnesty, or basically, or with anonymity, rather, anonymity. Since I started off late, I'm going to go into the call lines because I don't want to miss the callers as well, because I'm kind of going in. We can go into the Naga serpent line also. Like I was talking about earlier, there's a demonization of the serpent line that has started from the preface of the interception and of the culture here, post geoengineering from the Anunnaki. They were stocky from the head and the wig, so they powdered their faces to layer the makeup. Ah, very good. They were sickly from the lead in the wigs. Ah, so they powdered their faces to layer the makeup. Ah, thank you for that. Thank you, Aaron. I didn't know that. I could, very interesting. See, this is wonderful to get an idea of why they were doing it. I had no clue to why they were powdering their faces. That was something we didn't argue about it. We kind of just had that, like, if they're mimicking this, because he agreed with me, they mimicked the African diaspora, but I didn't know why they were powdering their faces. So that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Um, Also, we have to take in consideration with the nigger line that were hidden. There was one other factor that I wanted to take in consideration: the demonization of the serpent post colonization with the draconians. Okay, when the draconians came here, the draconians, to my knowledge, some people may know this a little better than me, but from my knowledge and what I know, now this I won't say I know for facts, but it's my take. Post colonization of remember, after the Anunnaki were here, there were other beings, other ET groups that came and colonized after the fact. Okay, because remember, when the original Anunnaki left, they left for 3,600 years. Thank you, Selma, for bringing in the dates. That was the Earth years that they left. Okay, that they would rotate and come back around. Nibiru comes around every 3,600 years. That's when we get those geographical ley line shifts. Okay, so when they left, there was another group that came here, known to be the Draconians, and came here. And there was only a few of the Anunnaki left to kind of oversee the populace at the time. But when the main group left and went on to the mothership, which is considered to be Nibiru, Planet X, whatever you call it, when they left, they only left a few left over, and those were incepted by the Draconians when they came here. And when they came here, they had to reestablish their own historical forms of manipulation and bring in another hybrid program to allow for the parasiting or the hurting of the people that they were taking over. And that's when you get the demonization of the original hybrids of the Naga, which you get the serpent. The serpent is the evil one, tempting Eve. And all that is remember, the serpent is a feminine energy. The serpent is the kundalini, right? The kundalini is spiraling up. It's a snake. It's all interrelated, right? But it's a feminine energy. And the fact of the matter is, the serpent was tempting who? Tempting Eve. Was the serpent tempting Eve, or was the serpent attempting to reawaken Eve through her kundalini, awakening her up, okay? The idea that the serpent tempted her to eat this apple, but remember, we know the concept of fruit is fruit from a tree, the tree of life, the tree of knowledge, okay? So the serpent was attempting to reestablish the information that Eve had lost when she fell from her original state of being. When the serpent was teaching her or trying to introduce information that was to reawaken her through her kundalini, that's when there was a demonization of Eve, saying that she's the reason why all of society fell, because of her sins. And that's when, apparently Adam and Eve learned that they had no clothes and they were shamed, and that perpetuated, the concept of, the first sins of human beings, and yada, 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 okay? So we get that concept, but the snake has always been demonized, and it's only been demonized by the patriarchy. And when the patriarchy was established through this new group of inceptors called the Draconians, and there were a host of others, I don't want to make it seem like it's just two groups. There were other ET groups that were intercepting, intermingling, and genetically morphing and hybriding people on the earth at the same time. But the domineering groups at one point were definitely the Anunnaki, and then, of course, the Draconians, which to this day still have supreme over this planet, okay? And in the solar system, they have a lot of domination. They're one of the most horrendous reptilians that are most feared. They're bipedal alligators, okay? So just take that. I've seen one shapeshift, and it is frightening. It is one of the most, it is why Princess Diana was drugged, just to be in the midst of these beings, okay? Just to be in there and just to be in their company, okay? That lets you know to what degree these beings were. But the Naga was here originally, but what they did is they hid certain parts of their lineage throughout the different ley lines. And that's where you get some of us who are coming in with some of the reawakening of coming from that diaspora. Myself from the Maya, but I have obviously some of the bloodline of the Naga. So that's why you're getting all of these memories coming about, or you're becoming reestablished in inquiries about the Naga, or having some linkage, or even some level of curiosity about that level, or those particular beings. And if you notice, the Naga is being highly represented. Rihanna is one of them. She's from the Naga line. Also, Tiffany Haddish is from the Naga line, directly from the lineage of Shiva, Tiffany Haddash, who's actually been brought online. Also, Cardi B is from the lineage of the Naga. She's been brought online. All of the Naga has been reestablished on the underlay and the undercurrent as quote unquote entertainers because they knew at a specific time when they go come back online, when the matriarchy comes back, they want to have their own people that have been incepted, part of the Naga line in the industry so that they can keep that power and prowess over them. Okay, so even though it looks like we're changing ties, they want to make sure they have their own people in the midst. Okay, so you have the reestablishment of the Naga and the awakening of the Kundalini happening within the very people who represent the Naga serpent line. Okay, so let's get to the phone lines. Do you have a comment, a question, or even some shares about this, what you know about this? And you know it's open mic tonight. You can discuss whatever you like. Okay, so let's get into the conversation. Hold on one moment. Let me hold on. Wait a minute. Let me. Oh, hold on. What is? Hold on. Hold on, family. I'm looking for. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. What did I do? Okay. Sorry about that. I do that every time. I think I'm pushing the button to put this in. Okay, so we're going to go to the phone lines. I apologize for tonight. Sometimes things happen, but can't stop, won't stop. We will go back to the topic. They can't shift us from the basic conversation. And again, I'm going to take to the phone lines. I see there are questions already. Make sure if you have a question, remember the phone line number is 515-605-9881. If you have a question, push the number 1 so I know I pull you in. Sometimes you have a question and you forget to push the 1, and I just see you sitting there, and I don't want to violate you. Sometimes you know I do that. If I don't pay attention, I'll just pick you in. So push the number 1 if you have a question, and I'll pull you into the phone line. I see there's people waiting already. If you call, make sure you call. We have 30 more minutes. Thank you, Selma. We now have 30 more minutes in the live queue, so you know you have to call before that 30 minutes because then if you want to ask a question or share something yourself afterwards, it'll be difficult. I can't pull you in because you can't call in to the live, to the feed. Okay, you can stay there. Okay, so push the number 1 if you have a question. I'm going to start pulling in calls now. Hold on one moment. Okay, I'm going to take the first caller, which is 704-4770. You're on the line with Fleur Brown. Peace, family.
Peace, peace. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Who's this?
Peace. This is Aisha, yo. How you doing today?
Good, good. You sound good, Mama. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm chilling. I'm listening to you. I'm about to step outside, you know. I'm at work with the noise. But,
that's okay.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Let us put a bambino in it. Congratulations there, girl.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful.
I figured I have to share as I had to share before I start growing. Everyone was accusing me of it anyway, so before I start looking like I was an ever-growing woman, I wanted to share it. But I'm excited.
Oh, that's beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mama.
Another sword on your family tree. Hello?
I'm always grateful to bring another addition in.
Yes.
Yeah, I am. I'm looking
yes.
I'm looking forward to another little one. So what's going on, love?
Oh, it'll be awesome. Everything happens.
It does.
Everything is everything. Stuff is still crazy, like in my little world. But
yeah.
I was just wanting to ask, I guess, a question or two about what your topic with the Anunnaki.
Yes.
Now, okay, I'm trying to get to a fireplace, but hold on it.
I can hear you fine.
Okay.
We hear you
so
fine.
With okay. Now with the powdering of the face of the white wig, some of the metaphysical teachers talked about where the judges and such would do that.
To make
they brought up that perfect 10.
Yes, to make themselves look more aged and seasoned. Yes.
But they were talking about what I've heard about where those who were in judicial back in the days, where they would have the black robe, which probably symbolizes the melanin,
Yes.
and then the white wig and the powder of the face, and some tied that into Kemet with a perfect 10, where the judges would try to mimic either Kemet or the I guess like a queen mother figure who ruled and judged over all things. All that was tied into some of these metaphysical conversations that I've heard.
Sure.
So I was wondering what was that, and what was the hierarchy position with that white wig and that powder face when you talk about mimicking, you know, the status of that Anunnaki when it comes to that.
Good question. Good
That
question.
was one thing.
Excellent question.
Yeah, that ties into what you were saying.
Absolutely.
Because it's still there.
It is. It's still being mimicked to this day.
That energy is still there.
Yes.
Right. Yes, and then the other thing was when you don't have the white hair, but you have the copper eyes or like a reflection in your eyes, you know, what are you supposed to do with that energy?
It's a serpent energy. It just means that you have that genetics in you, to a lesser degree. It shows up more when you have, you know, some of the other dispositions, but it doesn't mean that, you know, again, the copper overglaze is it's just one disposition of a genetic quality that comes along from being from that serpent bloodline. That's all it is. And what it is that having that disposition, remember, the snakes and the serpents are the ones who have control with their eyes. Therefore, remember, the insectilians have more of a pheromonic, like a scent, or like a feeling vibration when they infect people, pheromonically. The serpent does it through their stare and their eyes. They have a hypnotizing. You ever see when a snake or someone's charming a snake and they're playing music and you see the snake going back and forth? But sometimes on cartoons you see when the person's staring into the snake's eyes, they get like this loopy kind of like hypnotizing circle, like these circles going on in their eyes as they're staring at the snake. That's one of the dispositions of the serpent bloodline. The more of that you have is
the tiger as well.
Yes, yes. And what's interesting with that is that if you take in consideration the movie The Darkest Mind, the young lady of color, what were the colors of her eyes? They said orange. It was more copper. That's the color of her eyes, were copper. When you see it, it's like that. It's that goldish, golden look over her eyes, the glaze. What was her disposition? What could she do? She could get in people's minds and change them. Do you remember that?
I remember you saying that. I've never seen it.
The movie.
But I think it's true.
See that movie. It's so telling because before I saw the movie itself, I saw the trailer. And I already knew. I was like, okay, we know the Naga is coming back online. I see their representatives that they've cultivated themselves showing up. So I knew it was coming. But then when you start to see movies and then you see the one young lady who has coily hair, listen to me, it's all, remember, cinema is mimicking something else. She had coily, curly hair, okay? When is it that natural hair is becoming a product of something being perpetuated? They're showing you something. She had coily, beautiful, curly hair. Then she had the copper eyes, and she was one of the strongest. And she was able to, in her eyes, when her eyes turned copper, she was able to get into the minds and change the minds of anyone who she was around. And even the one who had eyes like her did not have her level of control or power. He was trying to parrot it. He was trying to vampire it off of her, a lunar male, trying to vampire what she did naturally and try to learn how she did it. She could make people disappear in their mind, totally forget about another person. That's a form of MK Ultra. She's able to do that. That's telling you. Yes, that is a form of that is one of the abilities. The natural abilities of the serpent is that they're able to hypnotize people and get in their minds. And it's one of the qualities when you hear anyone who's connected to the serpent, to Naga, watch when you start looking at them. See how they're able to convince people. They're one of the most charismatic people. People like being around them. They're very convincing people. These are people that are connected to that bloodline.
Okay, now I have a quick story and then I'm going to get off your phone line.
Yes, yes.
I met an Ethiopian lady one day. She was going down into like where there were some trees and the stream was down in an area. She was going to pick some flowers that were down there. And it was a particular flower. I don't know why she was picking it, but she was going. And I was like, yo, be careful of snakes. And then she was like, she was careful and she went and she retrieved the flowers, some rare little purple or blue flowers that were down there.
Interesting.
And
Wakanda forever.
when she, yes, and when she spoke, I don't even know what flower it was. I'll have to go back down there in the spring and see
Yes.
what pops up and take a picture of it.
Uh-huh.
But it was in the city, so I don't know, it's common. But when she spoke to me, she told me to be careful of the snakes because, you know, she was talking about people going up to the mountains to give the snake offerings, but she was basically saying that the snake is very insatiable and it can't be satisfied. And I was like, okay. And then she was encouraging me in Christ to still stick with the scripture and stuff. Now, I was about fishing at one time, you know what I'm saying? So I could still get down with the script, but at this time I'm seeing that the scripture is giving you, it's more parables, but some of that stuff you can really use. You just have to be wise enough to study so that you know what exactly is being said, because it's talking purpose sometimes. So when she said that, I was like, the chapel is with me. And then, now this is kind of off, but I keep having dreams of women with penises. Like, I don't know if that has to do with snakes, because I equate the penis to snake.
No, yeah. Well, no, that's
I keep having, I've had dreams of,
No, go ahead, love.
it was two people that I know that I saw in the dream with penises, and then twice it was like this angelic figure. It was a woman with, like, I told you this one before, she had like different colored locks, and it was almost cartoonish, and she, in lavender and purple were the colors that she had on this, like, it's like a prom
She's
dress.
royal. She's
She had a penis.
royal colors. That's the original.
And they're coming to me, and I'm like, what is that? What does that even mean?
Yeah, well, that's the original. Remember, the original women here were hermaphrodites. Remember, we're going back into 0 point, where the original being on this planet was a hermaphroditic female. She was a female, and she had both. Which you know, she had both sexes. Basically, she had like what you consider to be a enlarged clitoris. That's all it is, enlarged clitoris.
I would imagine that she just had the working inner parts to connect and you know, produce a seed.
No,
well, a lot of women with
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
A lot of women with fibroids, they're in tumors. They're finding, and they may not have elongated clitoris, but they're finding that when they dissect these tumors and these fibroids, that there is, like, you know, hair, you know, maybe some teeth or something like bone and stuff. So, I mean, it would be adventurous to imagine that a woman had an elongated clitoris or a penis, which I wouldn't doubt, but I just imagine that they had everything inside to reproduce when the time was right or whatever.
The penis wasn't used, that little clitoris wasn't used for sex, actually. It was a form member. They did interact as well, you know, somewhat like you use the penis now to urinate. Okay, you know how the men use the penis to urinate, like that. It wasn't so much for sexual reasons. It was more so for like external releasing of liquids, to my knowledge. And the original, I think my girlfriend did research on the actual hermaphrodites from back in the days. Like I said, it was more of they all had all of them. Even so, we had to assume the ones that are mimicking what we know to be the original female. We have to know if we're seeing some of that show up with their physicality, with that enlarged clitoris, that was probably more likely what they looked like back then. Just probably more advanced looking, bigger looking women, more very sturdy. Because remember, they're androgynous, so they have very sturdy forms. But I agree with you. In order to impregnate yourself, you don't require that outer. It happens from inside of you. It's actually released inside of you. So yeah, it's not required. It's not like she's going to stick her penis. She's not sticking her penis inside of herself to do it. No. I think it was more so for.
Well, that may be possible.
that would be interesting.
And I'm just saying, like,
that'd be very interesting.
The spirit is quite possible.
Anything's plausible, impossible. But it's interesting that you're dreaming about the original female it's something that you're remembering. It's probably a level of remembrance of the original zygote that coexisted here. They're here, and the women are starting. Actually, I think I heard it's the fourth case already of a woman giving birth through the process of parthenogenesis. I had heard a couple months ago it was only two.
Wow.
It was only two, and if you watch that movie, No Men Allowed, and I know a lot of people get upset about this movie that are men, but if you watch the movie No Men Allowed, you will see the women start to replicate themselves, and no more male children will be born. So the male children is stopped. Women start producing, because remember, when we were replicating ourselves, we were replicating females. That's all we were doing. So if you give birth through the process of parthenogenesis, you will only replicate a female, because that's who you are. It's a cloning process, you know. So there were no men in this movie. It's a great movie to see, and you kind of see what happens if this actually becomes a plausibility, where men become extinct and we go back to the original form that we were. And there were some, you know, again, watch that movie. I don't want to blow the spot. It was listen, I went to Redbox.
I've seen it.
Yeah, I went to Redbox.
Up on YouTube.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good movie. It was very interesting. And
I'll check it out. And another thing, the Dominicans,
yes.
They had it where the Dominicans, all the children that were coming up, by the time they hit 12, they started wanting to be a male, and then they were. I'm thinking that they started to form penises. I'm not certain, but they were coming out as female.
Yes.
And I don't know.
You remember that?
What caused that? But I mean that.
You remember?
I've seen that not too long ago.
That's the original female. That was the original zygote. That's the gene that was probably suppressed. That's still quite present in a particular. Remember, the Dominicans still have the Naga serpent line in them. They're part of the Naga. Okay, Dominicans and Haitian, the Haitians, same people. I know they don't like to hear that, but they're the same people, cousins. Okay, so they have that same disposition.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And I like that you brought that up.
Well,
I forgot that.
This after you hang me up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I love that you brought that up. I forgot about the Dominicanos and that. Thank you for that. You reminded me.
Oh, no problem. Yeah. So if you could touch on this after, when you get a chance after your callers, what are our instructions with this 36,000 year, with the pole shift, and how to deal with, I heard you speaking about how it has something to do with the Naga. And so, what is the instruction, or do we just go by what we are guided to do? Is there anything particular? Because everything is pushing for you to revere it more, and I'm not getting enough cosmic direction. And I'm just like pleading with the earth to show me what to do, where to go, because things are just going haywire, and I'm not ready to snap, but it's like
girl, I'm with you.
I have to.
Yeah, C-Star, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and I just would like some direction. I want to assist, and I want to get where I need to be, and then I want to ultimately flesh this toxic and I'm tired of it.
I totally understand it.
You give us some guidance.
Okay. Well, the pole shift is underway. A lot of the magnetic field is shifting, causing a lot of us to feel a little dysentery, like a little off, where a lot of us are feeling almost like a vertigo, because the magnetic field is shifting, the poles are shifting. We're underway. So now what's happening, what you're going to get directed to do, which you probably are getting already, everyone's wanting to exodus to another location. People are feeling the need to move one way or another. Everybody's feeling it. I mean, I know people who are sedentary, who don't like to move around, and they're feeling a need to shift locations. I say to follow your highest and greatest mind. If there is something in your head that keeps coming into your head persistently and consistently about a particular location and you don't know why, I would say you look into that, and I would say you try to hatch out a plan to probably follow that first mind and go in exodus to that location. Everybody's getting it right now. So everybody's different. Some people are going south, some people are going further north. It depends. It just depends on you. So you have to follow your first mind. You're getting it. I know it, you are, because everybody's getting it. Everybody's getting it. The oddest thing in the world. As far as what needs to be done, I would say you have to stay grounded and you have to stay without chaos in your mind, because this particular shift
Mhm.
is pulling people into the vibration and frequency which they most um, are representing at that time. So if you're perpetually being triggered
Mhm.
and propelled into anger, resentment, sadness, that is a disposition that you need to stay the heck away from. No matter what you do, it means if you have to isolate to yourself a little bit
Mhm.
to get away from people that are creating that kind of chaos, or you creating that kind of chaos, you've got to do it, because we're getting to the point now where we're getting earthquakes and everything all over. The pole shift is happening not only on the earth plane, but it's happening in the spiritual plane, and it's happening in our physical bodies. We're all shifting. So
Mhm.
you have to follow your first mind as far as where to relocate, if in fact you're going to do so. You have to stay out of chaotic behavior. Alcohol, drugs, and any sort of psychotropic right now is going to hamper your system. So if you know people are drinking, or people who are
Mhm.
getting high, I don't care if it's mushrooms, whatever it is, because they got these psychedelic mushrooms online that everybody's getting high with. Um, everybody's doing it, even in the conscious community. Everybody's, because it takes you to nirvana. The experience of purging and stuff. But I would just really
Mhm.
caution anyone from engaging in anything that alters your frequency, because right now
Mhm.
we are headed to a stage in our evolutionary process spiritually that there is no turning around. You can't you can't undo the things you learned over these last 5 6 years. You can't unlearn it. You can't unsee it.
That's the truth.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to move forward. There isn't any. You already dug the hole. You can't go back now. So you have to move forward. You go or backwards,
Mhm.
depending on what direction you're going in. It's your perspective. So what I would just say is keep your headphones on, keep your eyes open, and keep your first mind. Follow your first mind. That's my advice.
All right. All right. Cool. Thank you very kindly. I appreciate it.
No problem, C-Star. I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you in the future.
Oh yes, ma'am.
We're supposed to meet later on.
Yes, yes, yes. One day soon.
We are.
Yeah, we are.
I
We
already
got some
I already
things
saw
to
it.
go
Yeah.
back in time about.
I
For
already.
real?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. So we'll see. We'll see each other.
That's that's what's up. All right. See you later then.
All right, Mama. All right, Mama. Peace.
All right. Peace and congrats again. Take care of
Thank
yourself.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Peace. She's such a sweetheart. Okay, so that was our C star. Okay, we're gonna take our next phone call. Our next caller is 317-3070. You're on the line with Flavor and Peace, family. 317-3070. Take your phone off mute.
Yes.
Hey, C star.
Yes.
Peace.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, Ferdinand here.
Hey, Mama.
I didn't think I was gonna be on here now. Wow. Great. I'm so glad that I get to talk to you right now because I was thinking about it. And when I was thinking about it, you just came up on and you called my number. I was like, wow. But anyway, yes. So I'm so glad to talk to you and say that, hi everybody. I appreciate, the last time I was talking to Southern, I was so happy and I'm happy right now and, I've been getting a lot of premonitions and, dreams and stuff.
Good.
So everything that you guys have been talking about is like pretty much connection.
Yeah.
It's very much a connection to everything that I've been searching for. So I really do want to just tell you I appreciate you. I have gratitude for you for talking to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening to me last time. And I just wanted to, tell you guys I love everybody.
Aw, I love you too.
Yeah, I'm just appreciative.
Same likewise. Same likewise.
So yes. You have a wonderful night, you guys.
Oh. All right, Mama.
Yes.
Love you, Mama. Thank you. Mwah. Peace.
Mwah.
Aw, how beautiful. She uses bringing in gratitude. That's beautiful. Oh, I so appreciate our two stars. Okay, we're going to take our next phone call. We're going to take 334-7226. You're on the line with Florbo. Peace, family. Peace. 334-7226. You're on the line with Florbo. Peace.
Hello?
Hello, Sunstar. Peace, peace.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. We can hear you.
Oh, hey, my name is Marquise.
Hi, Marquise.
I talked to you before,
Yeah.
and you told me that I was an indigo child,
Yeah. Yeah.
and ever since I found out about the 13th son,
Yeah.
and he talked about incorporating number 13 in your life,
Mm-hmm.
and ever since I did that, I see the number 13 pretty much every day.
That's cool, yeah.
I mean, like every day. It could be like 6:16 on the clock, or it could be like my auntie, her address is 517, so I see that and I just start laughing. So I looked up on YouTube to try to find what I could about it, and they talked about angel numbers, and I still need more clarification because I never really found out what it meant. So I just want to know. I just want to know if you knew anything about. Like, can you tell me why do I see number 13 every day of my life?
Well, you're sitting in divinity. 13 is a divine number. It's a high power number. 13 is the number that they put before anything to exasperate the frequency of it, to buck it up, to raise the make it more powerful. So 13 is a powerful divinity number. It represents the divine feminine, but it also says that you sit pretty cohesively in that energetic field. If you're seeing the number 13, it means you're sitting in divinity very well and comfortably. Usually men don't see it as often as women. The fact that you're seeing it means that you have a soft spirit. It means that you have a nice cohesion with the feminine aspect of yourself. It means that you sit well. Maybe you sit well with women, your mother, maybe grandmother. If your grandmother passed, she could be the reason that's reverberating in your life. Because grandmothers will send that to you, especially the grandsons that they were very close to. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually live with my grandmother right now, and me and her are really close. I kind of felt like that I could have been, I just kind of guessed it, but I asked her a couple months ago. I asked her was she kind of close with her great grandmother, and she said she was. She said she loved her great grandmother, so I kind of felt like I could have been her reincarnated back into the family again.
Oh, beautiful.
I don't know.
That's beautiful. I accept that truth. I accept that you're actually picking that up. The fact that you would even have that concept or accept that could mean that there's validity to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because your higher self, it'll give you, like you always feel like, it'll give you that, the voice. It'll feel like you just thinking that, but it's just coming from your higher self or whatever.
Okay.
And I just kind of felt like I used to be a female in the past life.
It's beautiful. That's what I'm saying. You're sitting with divinity well. That 13 means you sit comfortably with the divine.
Yeah. Yeah, because I remember you told me when I called in once before, and you told me that I was indigo, and you told me that I had been on the planet a million times, and you told me that I told you that I felt like I was somebody important on the planet at one time, and you told me that if I felt like that, then maybe I would have. And because I'm not going out, like I watch your videos all the time, and I try to stay up on a lot of spiritual things and try to keep myself, grounded. And I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit, I started back smoking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you just you have stuff that you fighting with, and I kind of felt like it was, if I could let that go, then I could really, prepare myself for it spiritually. And I kind of felt like that was hampering my growth, which it is, but I just wanted to get more clarification on that because I haven't really been feeling that way, and I was just wondering, like, wow, dang, why do I see the number 13 every day? It's like it's just funny how I see it. It just come up
It's
just
beautiful.
all the time.
That's a gift to you. That's a gift. That's a gift to you, and it just makes you. I mean, you're what you're what us as the divine feminine require. We require men like you. For you seeing that, you're required by us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like I said, you're sitting well in the divine feminine because it is a representation. 13 is a representation. The base is a representation of divine feminine. And it just means that you are cohesive in that energetic field. It's a powerful number. That's why they coveted it, and Dark Kabbalists and the Illuminatis used it. It's because and the Masons use it. It's because they know that is the divine. Even with the B is a 13. Anytime you see that 13, it's a representation of the powerful, powerful divinity. Okay, and you represent that. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And if you just require, remember, you need nothing, anything. You need anything outside of yourself. Like you just exampled.
90 seconds.
Hold on 1 second, Sunstar. For anyone who's calling in, if you're going to call in, you have 90 seconds to call in. The number is 515-605-9881. You still have 90 seconds, less than 90 seconds now. If you want to call in after that, we're still going to be in the live queue and you can stay in listening, but that'll be the only opportunity you get to stay in the call line and actually ask the question. So, I'm sorry, Sunstar. What I was saying is that whenever you feel a little lost
60 seconds.
or you need a little guidance, just always go within. Every answer to every question, every inquiry, anything that's bothering you, anything that you want to verify is all inside of your very genealogy and your codon. And if you sit quietly and you do the work and you still yourself and you ground yourself and you sit in a luminous form, meaning that you sit without, hampering your system with music or, poor behavior, you'll always be able to access aspects of the truth that you require.
So, thank you, because, like I said, me turning back smoking and stuff like that. I mean, I just kind of felt like I, had a real strong, powerful soul, because when I found out angels or whatever, after that, I think in the video, they talked about earth angels. And then, so, just to mention that you get an earth angel, and I really found that, I could have been an angel or something like that. Because, and part of, you talked about the 144,000.
Yeah.
You said you want to feel like it was 144,000 souls on the planet.
Yeah.
And, us being incorporated in that, I kind of felt like I was, so, you said that all of us were warriors. And I really felt like I was somebody powerful. Like I said, in the past life, we could have been, I don't know how many lives I actually had. That's something I'm going to find out on my own. But I just kind of felt like I was a powerful angel reincarnated.
I can accept that. I can accept it. If you are feeling that, you know best. You know what you're holding, what energies you're upholding. So you know what you represent. So I can accept that that's your truth. I just say with the smoking, just know that with the smoking, listen, you can change form. Good. I love that.
And you just told me that, I'm going to cut that out cold turkey.
Well,
Cut that out. I've been.
Yeah. Be mindful. I want you to do it healthy, and I want it to be long-standing. Make sure that when you pull away from that you heal the aspect of yourself that requires that. So remember, whenever we have a crutch or something we do, I have them, like the coffee. My coffee was my crutch, right? So that was my crutch. But when I pulled off of the coffee, there was an aspect of myself that required it for a reason. Be able to remedy the reason why you're smoking, okay? Because you can't just pull away and not address what was making you smoke in the first place. So address it as soon as you pull away from it. So it'll allow for it to be long term. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you said, you told me that I'm gonna take off now.
That's cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I look forward to seeing you high above the rift. I look forward to seeing how you evolve past. Well, you're already an evolutionary. You're already evolving beautifully. I look forward to see your further progress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I've been telling myself the whole time, that this is going to be my last time on this planet. So after you told me I've been here,
word,
like, man,
word.
so
I hear you.
so, we all, just get to the point where, you're just kind of, you ask the question like, damn, like, why am I here? I'm like, but of course, we have to live our karma and we, made it, recent lives or whatever. We living it out now. But when you talk about us being a part of the 144,000, I'm like, yeah, I know I got to be a part of that. Cause I feel that real strong.
We cracked the ceiling. Yeah, we cracked the ceiling already. We're out of here. In about 2.5 years, we're out of here. So I agree with you. I know we're going to transcend past this level of, denseness. It's really dense here. That's why we all feel like, oh my gosh, what did I volunteer to come to this earth to do? It's dense as a mofo.
Exactly.
You went to the point where it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's no speaking in there.
It's like, okay, I did my job. Can I bounce? Yeah, I mean.
Exactly.
Yeah, it'll be cool. But you're doing well, and keep taking a notation. Every time you see that 13th, it's a compliment to your soul level.
Your soul. Soul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because my birthday is in a couple of weeks. I'll be 29, so I've been feeling like I told myself the other day, I was like 2019 is going to be my year.
20.
It's going to be a good year for me.
You're turning 29. You know that the awakening number is going to be an 11. You're going to get a lot of awakening. You need to put your seatbelt on because that 11 is going to bring you to new pentacles of understanding and overstanding and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be. When's your birthday? What month is your birthday? When's your birthday?
The 27th.
No. What month?
Oh, okay. January the 27th.
Oh, January the 27th. Oh, not the 29th. The 27th?
Yeah, I'll be 29.
Okay, the 27th. Okay. So you have the 27, which is a 9. So you have 9/11. Do you realize that? So you'll be in 9/11. So you'll be in you're gonna get mad.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. Put your seatbelt on now.
Yeah, I didn't realize that till you just said it.
Yeah, you're gonna be in 9/11. So a lot of spots are gonna be blown. People are going to shapeshift to what you thought they were into other beings. Your life is going to shapeshift. Be ready for it. You're already in that form. Listen. If you're about this life, nothing can sidetrack you. Just don't look at it and keep moving. Just keep just taking in the information, observing it, and keep it moving.
Yeah, I'm about this life, all right.
That's right. All right, Sunstar. Well, thank you for calling in.
Well, thank you, though.
Absolutely. And happy anniversaire, okay? Bon anniversaire. Happy birthday.
All right, thank you.
All right.
And hello to everybody in the chat.
Okay, peace.
All right.
That's our Sunstar. Oh, he's angelic. You can feel it in his vibration of his voice. It's very, when you hear certain voices, especially with males, you can feel their vibration either way or the other. You just feel like it's very calming, and the serenity that he emits is a testament to what he sees himself as an angelic form. So I love when there's a level of self-awareness to the point where it isn't coming from an ego, it's coming from a place of just realizing who and what they are and what energetic field they're kind of exuding to the environment around them, or vice versa, people are actually reading off of them. Okay, so I love that. So let's take our next caller. We have 580-0411. You're on the line with Furbo. Peace, family.
Hey, peace. Can you hear me?
Yes, peace, C-Star. I can hear you. Well, I heard you. Are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Hey, Mama.
Hey, Fleur, it's Judy. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
I've had to tighten my seatbelt here lately, just like you told
Maliska, is that, how did he say his name?
Oh, I forgot. Our son started just before. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of wanted to touch base on something that you had mentioned earlier because
Yeah.
it kind of triggered me a little bit,
Yeah.
and my first mind kicked into overdrive.
Okay, absolutely.
Okay, so not yesterday, the day before yesterday, I had a dream, and um, in my dream, I was by myself at first, and I was in a teepee, and I stepped out of the teepee and had walked a path down to this large white building, and I went to go to the bathroom. And there was a plane. I heard a plane, and I looked up, and there was a drone underneath the plane. And I remember thinking in the dream, that plane is going to crash. It's too loud and it's going too fast.
Mhm.
And then about that time, that plane took a nosedive into the ground. And there was a large sound, but there was no explosion. It was white smoke.
Mhm.
Okay?
Mhm.
So it skips to a parking type garage, or a bay, like a car wash bay or garage bay, where there's two cars, and there's a young woman with dark hair, and I can't see who she's talking to in the other car. But at one point, the woman gets out, and she's standing there talking, and at that point, I'm hiding for some reason in my dream. I duck down behind a blue pole,
Mhm.
and this woman says, "You need to get out of here now." And so this gold car drives off, and then all of a sudden I'm in this house, and it's really dark in this house. The windows have sheared green curtains that are tattered and torn, and I walk around the corner, and there's these women and children lined up against the wall, all crouching down, like
Mhm.
they're hiding. And there's a woman with salt and pepper hair sitting in a chair just off to the left-hand side. And the woman that was in the garage is now inside a TV that is playing. And then somehow she's out of the TV, and she's holding onto her stomach. And at first I thought she'd been shot.
Mhm.
And then a man showed up, and he said she's pregnant, and it's a boy. And at that time, he was holding onto her head in his lap, and they were on the floor. And I was holding her hand, and I looked up at the woman in the chair, and the woman laying down and the woman in the chair were the same woman, and it was my grandmother. So moving forward a little bit in the dream, I'm outside, and I'm with my mother. And my mother is crying, and I can't figure out why she's crying. And she has a little boy with her, about the age, in between the ages of 4 and 6, maybe.
Mhm.
And we're out, in the open, on a farm, kind of. And these animals come around the side of the house, and they have a chain, around their neck, a really, really thick, huge chain. And these animals I had never seen the like of in my entire life. They looked like a camel with a beak, but they had it was fur, but it looked like feathers. And there were 3 of them. And then all of a sudden there was a very, very tall man with blonde curly hair, short, and he was very muscular and very, very super tall. And there were 3 pigs that were very, very large and very, very fat in these cages on the back of a truck. And it was like they were going to take them off to slaughter or something. And I hear my mother tell this little boy, at first I thought I heard her call him David.
Mm-hmm.
And she told him to stop playing with the dogs and come over to where she was at. Well, at that point he had seen the animals that were chained.
Mm-hmm.
And so he went over there because he was curious and he wanted to pet them. And I'm still standing there with my mother trying to figure out why she was crying. And I look over at this little boy, and he's reaching up towards these animals, and I'm like, be careful putting your hand up there because they've been chained for so long, you don't know if they're going to bite you or not. And this little boy, he was so, so gorgeous. He had like a bowl cut.
Mm-hmm.
And dark hair, beautiful copper skin, and beautiful bright chocolate eyes.
Aww.
And just the biggest smile, the biggest smile.
How old was the boy? And how old was he, roughly?
He was roughly, I would say, in between the ages of 4 and 6, maybe 5, 7. In between that age. He wasn't really, I would say more 4 to 6.
Okay.
Was his age. And I didn't call him David, though. I called him Arian.
Ah, Arian.
And
interesting.
so, yeah. Which, I kind of thought about it for, all day yesterday. And then I kind of put it on the back burner because I felt like I was overanalyzing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you were speaking to someone just a few minutes ago, and you were talking about the pole shift,
yeah,
and the migration,
mm-hmm.
And that's when the light bulb went off. That's why my mother was crying, and why my grandmother was saying we needed to get out of here now.
Ah, yes. Wow. Okay.
So I kind of wanted to, I had sent you an email, you'll have to check out later.
Mm-hmm.
We can discuss it later, but
okay.
I kind of wanted to reiterate that aspect of it because anytime the ancestors or your mother or your grandmother or your auntie or, mother type figures show up in your dreams and they give you, that type of information, it's kind of something that you need to take heed of.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then this morning, I woke up. This was my second dream. I haven't been back to sleep yet. But this morning, the only thing that I remember about my dream is I have this big, beautiful, huge, round tree of life on my wall. And I was standing in that same place wherever that plane crashed. And that tree of life was there.
Oh,
but it was like a silhouette because it was dark out
yeah.
in my dream.
Yeah.
And there was this big, huge, massive white, bluish white light um, that illuminated this tree. I mean, it was massive. So I'm feeling like those two dreams kind of coincide, like it's a very purposeful dream, but I know it was a lucid dream, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You were aware. You're aware while in dream state. Yeah.
I was very aware because, you know, my mother and my grandmother are both passed, and they have been for years. And at one moment, I had, you know, spoken that in my dream. You know, I kind of skipped over parts that were pertinent to our conversation this evening. So I kind of wanted to, you know, bring that to the group this evening,
Mm-hmm.
and to your lives that you're having,
Mm-hmm.
and want to make sure that people are prepared and that they do have a plan.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
those of us that are aware and we're having that feeling, there's a reason behind it. And we need to pay attention to everything that we have surrounding us and within us and how it makes us feel. And we need to take action upon that. It's not a fear-based. It's more of a, you know, pay attention and stay grounded and aware of your surroundings and keep going on the path that you're going, but be mindful to go ahead and take those steps forward into where your first mind is telling you you need to be.
Yeah. Absolutely, I agree. Absolutely, that's
Okay.
that's very, very important. Very, very important. You know, everyone has to follow it though. You know, because I think everyone's getting it right now. I noticed that that's like the general consensus now. People are being motivated to do something different than normally they would do, and that's the undertone of the current, kind of preparing them for what's about to come ahead, what's coming ahead pretty soon, sooner than later. Sooner than later.
Absolutely. There was something else I was going to touch on because it was said again later in the conversation. But I wanted to bring it back right quick to, you know, the dream state. If anybody, I don't remember what it was now. Squirrel, hey. You were talking about the feeling of vertigo.
Yeah.
And a lot of us having that feeling that has like been super intense to the point to where I myself have had to take a break and lie down, and it like takes hours for the feeling to subside.
I agree.
After I have been outside, even it's like this huge. It comes in waves, if that makes sense. It's like kind of like an earthquake has aftershocks. It's kind of like that. It comes in waves. So like every couple of days, it's just growing more and more intense. This energy is.
I agree.
And so the more intense these waves are, and this vertigo is, and the more self-aware everybody becomes, which you're seeing more and more of, or I am, in my surrounding area where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
The more of our encoded DNA is showing up. Not just within ourselves, but in, you know, our children. My son, for example, I'll see his eyes change.
Yeah. Wow.
He originally had like a hazel eye that interchanged in between green and blue. But within the last like 3 months, I would say, I have noticed them change from the green and blue to the, I want to say like amber or copper color, and
Ooh, that's where we go.
or,
The Naga star.
kind
You
of a
told me that. Yes. Yes.
golden.
Yes. Interesting.
And I tell him every time that I see it happen, I actually physically tell him. And it kind of freaks him out a little bit. He's like, will you stop looking at my eyes? I said,
Mama's noticing the change. Yeah. Yeah, Mama's noticing the
and,
change. Yeah.
I just kind of felt like I needed to, you know, reiterate that sometimes things are not always what they seem.
Yes.
And so you can't take something that is right in front of you at face value. And that is an important thing that we need to take care of, or else we won't be able to leave here.
So, hello, yeah.
If that makes sense.
I, yeah, and I'm learning that.
It's your baggage.
Yeah, yeah. And there are things that are challenging us right now, actually trying to purge our shadows. And some people are taking it as, you know, being triggered, but these are things that have to be released before we leave. Like you said, there can be no baggage. The baggage has to be everything that we carried, that we thought we needed and required, we have to release it. And in order to release it, we have to acknowledge that it's unnecessary to have it. In order to acknowledge that it's unnecessary to have it, we have to heal whatever created the necessity to have it. So there's a lot of interlaying work that needs to be done previous to releasing even the baggage. And a lot of that should have been done already, but yeah, but it's still happening. Even with myself, shadows that need to be released and addressed immediately.
You know, I have kind of noticed that within myself here lately. A lot of it is not as intense because I've been so proactive in the last 5 years of actually, you know, working on that aspect of myself. And it becomes easier to recognize, and you're more capable of flowing through it instead of fighting against it. So it's not quite so hard when these energetic waves hit you the way they do.
Wow. And remember we're having the lunar eclipse coming again. The lunar eclipse and the blood wolf moon. So you can imagine everybody should have their seatbelts on. We're jumping timelines. Hopefully we'll ride above the wave. I'm trying to get above the wave.
Right?
Yeah.
Why don't we just float on top of the wave?
That's right.
Instead of being in the midst of it.
That's right. We coast. Because some people are going to be where the break is. You know, when you're right at the beginning of the beach and you get the break? That's the hardest position to be in when the wave comes. When you're totally unaware of the power of the wave and that break hits you, we're going to ride this wave. We're going to be on top of it and we're going to glide. That's the disposition I'd like to take in this energetic wave coming in.
Absolutely, I am down with that. I'm actually traveling with my sister.
Oh, I love it. She coming?
She is going through her awakening right now.
I remember you telling me. Your sister.
And so, yeah, she came to me and was telling me that she thought she was going crazy, and I was like, well, you know, kind of talk to me about it, and, you know, we'll go from there. And I told her, I said, you're absolutely not crazy at all. These things are actually true, and it's actually happening.
Yes.
So just know that within yourself. I said, you have a lot of deep-seated work that you're going to have to do, and you're going to have to do it quickly. And just over, I'd say the last 3 weeks, I have seen that girl jump hurdles now, just sail right on past them. Like it was a piece of cake for her. There are some things that she's still not quite past, which is fine because that's, you know, her particular set of lessons or challenges. that she has to face within her own self. But she is very aware of them. And something else that I kind of wanted to point out is you were, if somebody was, I think, talking about the Akashic records. Was that this
Yeah,
weekend?
I brought in
Was I thinking about that? Or
maybe not this feed, maybe last night. I brought up the connection to Akashic records.
yeah. So I figured I wanted to ask you this. Those of us who have been here and incarnated in different forms throughout our lifetimes here.
Yes.
Some of the things that I think are kind of telltale signs. Like, for instance, I have many different allergies, and I tell people that I have mermaid hair.
That's a beautiful quality, yeah.
But I have many allergies to, different types of shellfish and different things like that. So I think part of that was trying to tell me over my lifetime here this time that, yes, this is true. Yes, you are awakening even from a very young age. And yes, you were this particular type of elemental. And this is why you have an adversity to, eating certain types of foods, because it's part of who you were in a separate timeline, in a separate life.
Oh, interesting. You have an aversion due to past life residue. Very interesting.
Yeah. And I've also noticed, and I wanted to know if you were seeing kind of the same thing, or anybody else was, if that are elementals, because I know that there are some that are not elementals.
Mm-hmm.
Those of you who are elementals, have you noticed the trees awakening?
Awakening? Well, remember, for me, I always knew they were awake, so it's maybe different for me. Maybe somebody else who has that question. I feel that the trees have always been an interaction with those like us. There may be some level of their interaction with those who are awakening to who they truly are. Yes, I think that may be happening. To my knowledge, they had always been awake. It's just, I think there's probably people that are more receptive and can interact with them and have some level of awareness that the trees are now awakening in that way within them. I think that's probably happening, but we should ask people if that's the case. Is anyone having a level of more interaction with the trees, more interaction as far as telepathically? Do you feel that the awareness, the trees are making themselves more aware? We can ask them, because they can more so answer that question. With me, I've always had that relationship, so it's a little different, my perspective.
Right.
Yes. Oh, Selma said yes. Astoundingly. Absolutely. Selma said yes. Absolutely. Not really.
Good.
Not really more. I feel like.
We're all together.
What is that?
Do what?
Did you hear that? Was that you, Candy?
I did hear that.
Did you hear someone else?
No, that wasn't me. I thought maybe somebody else was.
No, that's weird. You heard that, right?
Oh, I did hear that.
Oh my gosh, that was strange. I think I clicked.
I wonder who that was.
I don't know. I think I clicked somebody in by accident. That might have been me. Whoever that was, I might have clicked you in accidentally.
Are they still?
No, I think they're out. I gotta bring
Are
them.
they still on?
No, let me see. Hold on. Let me ask the question. Let me bring someone else on, Candy, while you're there. Hold on. I think this is the person I brought on. 917. Okay. 917-7086. You're on the line with Flurburn. Peace, family.
Hello.
Hey, peace, sir.
Hi. It's Azure. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good. Finally, I'm so grateful let me just first give gratitude for you just having this platform. And it's so interesting because when you mentioned the because I guess you're on Facebook right now or something.
I'm on Cypher and Patreon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, great. So I have a quick little introduction story, because, we Sagittarius, we gotta be selective.
Yes, absolutely.
So when you said, oh, I think I heard someone, so I had just, I fell console in my room, and I was, like, holding my selenite, the tower that you have.
Yeah.
So, like, I went out, and I had bought it, like, a couple months ago, and I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you had the live on, and you were talking to the lady just now, I was like, oh, we're all together. So you heard me say that.
Oh.
I was like, I felt like family. Like, yeah, like, when you're, like, at the table with your family. Like,
that's so interesting, right, Candy? And we pulled you, and I pulled you in just when you said that. Do you see how you manifested that? Because there's no way I could have brought you in. I didn't touch anything. You brought yourself in. You manifested that collective because you said, oh, isn't that beautiful? You see how you did that? You brought yourself in. I didn't even think that. I didn't even know what happened. That's beautiful. That's a sisterhood, family. This is a sisterhood. This is what happens. I love it.
Wow. Wait, am I on the line with the lady who
Yes, it's Candy. Yeah, welcome. Candy's on the line too.
Candy, I love you. I was listening to you, and, like, you remind me of the people who I would meet on the street. Like, I meet people like you on the street, because I'm just, like, I don't know. I always attract the people that are, like, really cool, that need to be heard, and I feel like those are just the most knowledgeable people.
Yeah, absolutely.
People who are, yeah. And a couple of points that you were mentioning too, I was like, oh, I could relate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's like so many of them.
I love it.
Wrote them down.
How do you feel? How do you feel like the energies are affecting you? Like how has the last week been? Do you feel any pulling or tugging? Do you feel like a need to? Are you motivated to leave? Are you hearing more friendships transferring or changing, or family members? What are the changes that you're experiencing, if any? If any, be really honest.
Yeah, I would say, like, for a while, for like a couple of months, I was kind of like, I felt like my light was a little dim, and that was just off of, like, my mistakes, and then, like, living with mistakes, and, like, certain friendships, like, kind of ending. But, of course, I have my part in it, too.
Yeah.
And then as the new year, or as 2019 began, because I know it's not a new year, like, we're in the winter solstice. So
yes,
I come from a family of farmers.
Oh, yes,
yeah,
you
but
understand
you know my story, like.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, share your story. Share your story.
My dad, like.
Share your story.
Oh.
Share.
Okay, so so I come from a family of farmers, and, like, generations, and it's just like, I know that spring isn't here. Spring is light. But we're here in the middle of winter solstice, so I know it's not a new year. But at 2019, I was like, I'm going to do certain things that I've always wanted to do since I was young. It's like I always wanted to learn to swim. So I'm learning to swim, and I love it. I started doing it at the end of December, and I've, like, stuck to it. And sometimes when I'm under the water, I could hear, like, Atlantis. It's so cool.
Oh, I love that.
Sometimes I pop up though because I'm scared. I'm like, oh, what is that?
Wait a second, there's a world down there.
Yeah, and it's just a pool. It's not even the ocean. That's how I know I'm connected.
She's hearing the call.
Yes.
It's chlorine.
Absolutely.
Your lines are open.
That's right. I agree.
Yeah,
with Candy.
they're open. So, and it was blocked, and it was like, like kind of like the Matrix thing, and then kind of like going into myself, and it was just, like, really hard to balance. But I started doing an okra bath, so that's like in the hoodoo practice.
Yes.
So I've done like 2, yeah, and it's been helping. And it's like, oh, that's what Candy was talking about, was the shadows. So I'm, like, a big time person on, like, excuse my French, but, like, making your demons your bitches.
Yeah.
I'm a big, like, I'm adamant.
I love
like,
that.
I'm really adamant about it.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah. And like, I'm 26, so, it's like I don't have like so much shadow, but I still have shadow.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, I just always feel like I'm discovering something new, but like kind of almost like, I don't know, just discovering new things about myself and then like trying to fix it or trying to understand why I do the things I do. And then I'm like, I don't really like that anymore. So that's how I'm feeling.
Ah.
And that okra bath is really helping me. But it's gentle because it's not like, change, bam. Like, here,
tell people
this differently
people
and like let go.
let people know what the okra bath entails, because that's really into, some of your aerobic goes into that, but that's more hoodoo. That's more bringing the southern base into it. A lot of the cultivators in the south, in Louisiana, Mississippi, parts of even Florida do that. Can you kind of talk about that bath and what that entails?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. So what I do, I take 7 okras.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, I'll just talk about what is okra. So okra is a plant. Well, it's a vegetable, sorry. It's a vegetable, and I love it. I love it in my, like, food. You know, because we like that good vegetarian stuff food.
Yeah.
So, like pumpkin soup. Oh, man.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes.
Yes. And I'm from uptown. I'm from the Bronx. You know, sorry.
Boogie down.
241st.
241st. That's right there, the border of Mount Vernon.
Yes, that's where my is.
I love it.
Next time you come through, we gotta like hang. I know I probably like emailed you. I'm not a stalker, but I just like, I got so much love for you.
I'm down.
It's nice to just have a melanated sister.
Well, I'm so down because remember I was down there, but it was so cold. Nobody really wanted to hang out as much, neither me. I was only at Uptown. We should definitely do, if anybody comes up, we should definitely do that. I love the Uptown Veg. That place was the bomb.com in Harlem. It was amazing. It was really small and really quaint.
Yeah, I like that place.
Yeah, but all the sea stars want to hang out there. So I was like, I told the people, I was like, well, I'm just going to bring all my people.
We can have a Harlem day.
Mm-hmm. I think it'd be nice. When it gets warmer. Yeah. We'll do that.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That'll be beautiful. Candy,
and we could wear the shirts. I have to buy a shirt.
Oh yeah,
Candy, you should come.
Candy, come up. Candy will have a ball.
I'm from Oklahoma.
Candy's gonna come up.
Oklahoma?
Candy's gonna come up to. We're gonna go get a flat. This is what we'll do. We'll get like a little flat, and we'll all get like sleeping bags. Then we'll have little snacks, and we'll hang. I say we do it. No, I'm saying we'll get like a B&B.
Let's do like a summer.
We'll all hang out.
Yeah. Ooh, this is fun.
I'm down. You know I'm down. I'm down. We'll just chill out and talk, because that's all. That'll be fun. I think a lot of times what it is that us collectively are getting together as a sisterhood, and many of us don't really have people in our general areas. So when we get together, even when I went to the conference, it wasn't even my conference. I went to someone else's conference. I met a lot of our sea stars were there, and it was so much fun. It was amazing. I felt like, wow, I should do this more often, because a lot of them were there. So I love, I'm a girl's girl. So I love hanging out and sitting down and sitting, chilling, sitting together and just kind of like reacclimating our systems to bonding again. And this is something that we miss, with the patriarchy suppressing and also making us very competitive. It put a lot of pressure and it created a lot of sadness in us, because this is what we always did. We always got together. We braided each other's hair. We talked to each other. We cried to each other. Mm-hmm. That's what we did. And a lot of that has been lost, but we're getting that back again. So I'm down. I might be.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be beautiful. Jose,
we have always had.
Yeah. Go, Candy.
We've always had and are starting to see more of, or at least around here, where we didn't have before, are seeing a lot of women lend strength to other women and actually help lift each other up.
Oh, I love it.
Which is a fabulous thing that I'm seeing manifested around here, because I think I've spoke about it before. A lot of folks around here call this location like the death vortex, because there's a cemetery on each side of this location that I'm at. And so it's a very heavy, dense feeling. And a lot of times you'll see in this area, it's a little bitty county in Oklahoma right up next to the Kansas border. As a matter of fact, it's about, I would say, 15 miles from the Kansas border.
Yeah.
And from, I would say about 7 or 8 years old, you know, sixth grade, grammar school, you started to see a separation start happening. And between just the feminine identities,
Wow.
they had become very fierce and defensive, and you know, some of them were very malicious in their behaviors. And there's still some of that going on, but not to the degree that it was than what I witnessed as a child growing up in this area. So I'm really grateful to see that these younger women, and even women of my own age, that are starting to come back to that wholeness within themselves and reaching out through the systems to each other and lift each other up, instead of seeing the vicious cycle of tearing each other down. Now, also, I don't know if you guys have or not lately, but there are a lot of the patriarchs that are livid right now.
Oh, they're hostile. I told you, yes, they're hostile.
With the divine, they are very hostile. Here, not too long ago, I was working as a lab tech in a company, and I was the only woman within the department.
Oh, God, no.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Candy.
They placed us there for a reason, right? Sorry about that. They placed us there for a reason, though, because it's something that we need to witness and to learn about.
Absolutely.
It is why they put us in these situations.
Absolutely.
Is to be able to witness it and to be able to find the strength within ourselves, to be able to stand in our own power.
Stand firm.
As a
Absolutely.
woman.
Absolutely. I agree.
And to be capable of still being self-aware enough to know when and how these masculines are showing up.
Yeah.
So a lot of these, and I even remember speaking out to several masculine energies within that particular company, and letting them know, oh, hey, this is not a gender neutral environment. You know, this is not a cohesive environment at all.
Yeah.
So, like, how did they treat you, like, in that way? Just so I could know, like, for future. Because I work in a hospital, so I'm around more women. And then I've always been around, like, divine masculine men. Because, like, my dad, he's a divine masculine. I'm not just saying that because he's my dad. Like,
no, you
like,
recognize that. Yeah.
Claire Broom.
Oh, I love that. I love it.
Yeah, like Claire Broom was talking about, like, thank you. Claire Broom was talking about, like, heads.
Yeah.
So, like, my dad has, like, a flat head. He doesn't have a pointy reptilian head.
Yeah.
And, like, he always protects children and stuff like that.
Aww.
But, like, how would you know? I mean, you would just know when you're around toxic guys.
Oh, yes. Some of the behaviors that I came across in that particular area at that point in time, I actually had a masculine patriarchal energy I was working in an isolated room, and there was like a countertop that was like sectioned off, and in the back, and one of the masculine energies actually came through the back door and had grabbed my rear end.
What?
And he said to me,
Hell no. Hell
Yes.
no.
What? This is what he said to me. He said, "What now, little girl? Are you going to go run and tell?"
What? Oh, see, this is brazen. This is what it. No, this is brazen. Of course, because he knows it. He knows it's an environment that supports that. Yeah, he knows it's an environment that supports it, and because there's not many females, and you're the only one, he feels like if you go and say something, no one's going to believe you, or no one's going to back you anyway. That's brazen. That's highly brazen. I'm so sorry.
So that's why he did that?
Yeah, he knew he had to support.
Exactly.
Yeah, he was in an environment that supports that kind of behavior. Yeah, I'm sorry, Candy.
Yes. Yes. There aren't very many women that are employed by this company.
Thank goodness.
And
right? Thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
One of the things that I found was within myself. I was disappointed, and I was, of course, very angry. However, I wanted to be the professional and whole within myself and who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that this particular masculine energy would be at his own detriment, if that makes sense. So I needed to find the power within myself and the strength within myself to, instead of, trying to bring me down or even reporting the incident, to find the power within myself to tell this being what I thought and to go about my business as the professional that I was.
Check them. Check them. Check them. Yes, check them.
First of all, exactly. First of all, and so what happens is these masculine energies. What they're looking for is power.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
That's what my dad says too. He says, because he was a correction officer, so he literally was like a protector. Is a protector.
Yeah.
But he would say, men do this for power.
Yeah.
They're not real men.
Yeah.
They're not. They're diabolical, low vibrational,
they are
masculine, patriarchal beings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that is one of the sure signs, red flag signs that will go up. It is not flattering at all.
No. Someone grabbing your tail end and thinking that's okay. That's absolutely
So, but why do they do that? Is there something in their brain? Why?
No, there's a lack of
What is when they
lack of impulse control.
When they come across go ahead, I couldn't hear you.
Oh no, go ahead, Candy.
When a low vibrational masculine energy sees a divine feminine stand within her own power and within her own strength,
yep.
His first thought that goes through his mind is, I need to take her power from her.
Yes. Challenge her. Yeah.
That is the first thing that goes through their mind.
Wow.
It's not anything that the woman has done.
No. To initiate that type of reaction, no.
She didn't.
Yeah, no.
Exactly. It is just something that they hold within themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lack of power. It's an insecurity within themselves that makes them act upon it and try to take that woman's power.
Yes. Break her.
So,
break a woman, or it's like
the way
deflowering.
I,
Yeah, it's like deflowering a woman.
go ahead.
It's the same concept as men trying to deflower.
Deflowering her.
Yeah, deflowering or breaking a horse. It's the same with breaking a horse. When you're riding horses, you know, Candy, because you're there, but it's the same thing. It's eventually you'll break the horse after a while. You perpetually keep forcing their position and challenging it, and eventually they'll break. And that's what men do, and that are that type of beings. They want to break you and put you in a humiliating situation, make you have to go to HR and embarrass yourself and say, hey, someone grabbed my behind. That's a little embarrassing to some women. Some women don't want to have to go through that. So he's putting her in a position where she would have to put her tail between her legs and go to HR. But she didn't do that. She checked them. That's what he deserves.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
And, you know, that has not been the only instance that I have seen this show up. Because, you know, we did the timeline jump, you know.
Yeah.
And I had seen
Oh, I didn't do that. But I did that too much.
You didn't do the jump last time?
And
Yeah. We did jump.
No, I didn't do this timeline. No.
Well.
And in this timeline, I have noticed that the masculines, a lot of them, the patriarchal masculines, are very angry and very hostile.
Yes.
Because it's almost like whenever you break the code, and you know you see the beings around you, and their stature changes.
Yeah, the true form shows up.
You know, some will speak to you, some will get up and leave, some will put their glasses on in front of you, even though they're inside and it's dark.
I've seen that.
You know,
I've seen even people like glitch and stuff like that. Cause that's what I did. I broke the code.
Yeah.
It's fun now. When I first did it, I was like, oh my God.
It's kind of like that in this timeline for me, because they are, the more self-aware you are and the more that you raise your vibration and keep that vibration high, the more these beings are going to show up as who they are. They're not even going to try to cloak themselves in the way that they have before.
Yeah.
They're just going to come at you. And
Wow.
the higher you go, the more they're going to try to pull you back down into a lower frequency.
Yeah.
And
that is so true.
For myself,
So true.
I had just made that decision. Hey, listen, okay, this is the way it's going to go down. I am moving on. This is going to stop, and it's going to stop now. Period. I don't care if I see it. I seen, where was I at? I was at the store or somewhere here the other day, and I seen a masculine treating a feminine that way, and I had to check him. It becomes when you keep whenever you act in integrity and in authenticity in who you are, and you uphold that higher vibrational frequency, it's going to show up and manifest. And you're only going to become stronger within yourself and be able to stand within your own power.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And when you have that mindset about you, there is that old adage, can't stop, won't stop.
That's right.
Sound familiar?
Yeah.
That's true.
That's
Stop, won't stop.
But it comes to, you will be tested in that manner.
Absolutely.
To see if you're going to uphold that vibrational frequency.
Yes, I agree.
And the more that you do that, the easier it will become for you and for others to recognize it within you.
Yeah.
And then you'll be able to, more and more aspects of yourself in your own encoded DNA will show up
I agree.
and manifest itself. And sometimes, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes it is kind of scary, and you want to back off from it just a little, but that's where that flowing through the energy comes in, because you're able to recognize
not against it kind of thing.
Right.
Like how you guys were saying earlier, like instead of going into the wave, like ride on it.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Ride the wave. Yeah. Take the power back. Take your power back. On top of the wave, you can actually navigate how you move, and you can, yeah. But once you're at the bottom of the wave, or at the point where it's about to break on you, you basically are at the power of the wave. The wave has the control, has the power over you at that point. You're basically just a sitting duck. And I think if we sit from a position of power, everything always will work its way in a direction that's more feasible and more cohesive for us. It's just getting to that point where we feel confident enough to be that way. Well, ladies, hold on. We only have 2 minutes left. I have to thank you, ladies. The show's about to end. Oh, I love it. It's so beautiful talking to you. I love talking to both of you. It was beautiful.
It was fantastic. I loved it.
It was like so nice. I love how I got tuned in. I'm so grateful. Like, that Southern A1, we're friends. I'm just holding my Southern A1.
Absolutely.
And I love you, Fabro.
I love you
too.
too.
Candy. It was so nice talking to you.
I love you, Mama.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you. Peace, ladies. Peace. I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for everyone who joined us this evening. I'm sorry for the initial slowdown at the beginning of the show. Thank you again. That was a beautiful show. And just it shows the camaraderie of women coming collectively together from so many different walks of life. You have one who's a younger version, showing up in a younger avatar. You have our Candy, who comes from the Midwest. You have Fleur Brune, who's a Creole contactee who's about this life. So it's so beautiful to come together collectively. And this is an example of how the divine feminine is showing up, and how the frequency of this is coming and really healing aspects of ourselves and allowing for cohesion. So thank you again for joining us for the evening. I love it. I really look forward to next show. We're going to blow spots again, so I had to make sure I kept it calm this show. Next show, we're blowing spots. Also on Patreon, you get an aspect to see me daily through the 13 days. So I'll have the 13 days on Patreon of me going through the time loop jump. So I will come on daily to share aspects of my time jump, timeline jump, and you will get an aspect of my life every day from the beginning of the jump to the end. So I look forward to sharing that for Patreon, so you get a chance.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.
You actually get a bird's eye view of the actual jump, so I look forward to sharing that. So you get to see me in my rare form, talking about the jump, what I'm experiencing, how it's going, and actually seeing me through the transformation. So thank you, everyone, for joining again. I look forward to next Thursday's show. Listen to what I said. I said look forward to next Thursday's show, and also big up to Patreon, who's going to be seeing the transformation of the time jump, of myself through the time jump. So whoever's joining us, we do our timeline jump on Sunday. Cypher, we do our protection shield on Friday at 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. tomorrow. So be there or be square, 13th hour, and be prepared. Okay? So I love you, family. Thank you again for joining.